Happy Halloween, everybody. Got a special guest for you today, Rashad from Rashad G Reviews. He, like me, is one of the few people on this lame-ass platform that likes Blaxploitation films, and I'm excited that he's going to join me today to talk about a Blaxploitation horror film. Man, two Blaxploitation fans talking about a Blaxploitation film. This video will get dozens of views. Welcome to Exploitation Reviews, and me, Rob, and today the third R, Rashad. He'll join us here in a little bit. We're going to talk about Scream Blacula Scream, the only Blaxploitation horror film sequel. Over on Rashad's channel this month, he's been talking about Blaxploitation horror films, and he's covered quite a few of them. You should go over there and check out those. They're really cool, including the one that we did together, Sugar Hill, the only Blaxploitation zombie film. But do that after we talk about Scream Blacula Scream right here. The original Blacula was a breakout hit, so just 10 months later, AIP was able to produce this sequel and get it into theaters. Let's see how they did. We open at an old woman's death. She was the leader of a voodoo cult, and because she hadn't named a successor, there's a power struggle. Her son, Willis, thinks he's the rightful heir, but voodoo cults are a democracy, and they vote for Lisa, played by Pam Grier. Willis, outraged, buys the bones of Blacula and resurrects him. His plan, I guess, is to use Blacula to get power over the group. I'm not exactly sure how this was supposed to work, since the only thing vampires are very good at in terms of groups is murdering them. Murder the group, there's no longer a group to have power over. Not a great plan, but it doesn't matter, because as soon as Blacula is resurrected, he kills Willis and turns him into a vampire servant. Nice job, Willis. But this is actually pretty cool because it means that Willis is kind of like a Renfield character. A jive-talking Renfield character. Nice. And this is where the problems start to set in, because just 15 minutes into the movie, we now no longer have a plot. Eventually, Blacula will get the idea to use voodoo magic to remove his vampire curse, but he's not going to get that idea until about an hour into the movie, so from his resurrection until that happens, the movie has no direction, no plot. Just sort of pointless wanderings. But, minimal as it is, that's enough out of me as far as plot goes. Rashad, what did you think of the movie?
Rob, what's the deal? Pickles, is everything kosher? So thank you, fam, for inviting me on your channel to talk some exploitation. In this case, some horror exploitation. So I already reviewed Blacula on my channel, so this time I'm coming on your joint and we're talking Scream Blacula Scream. Now, I'm assuming you got into the meat and potatoes of this movie, what it's about, all that stuff. I'm just going to give my quick 2 cents and I'm going to get up out of here and let you do your thing, homie. So I'm not going to be long. And I don't have a whole lot to say about this movie anyway, so yeah, this shouldn't take long at all. Scream Blacula Scream is not very good. Tell me if I'm tripping, bro, but did this not feel like Blacula was in the wrong movie? You know what I'm saying? I feel like Blacula was in the wrong movie, bro. Like, this started out with a family of voodoo people. It's like a voodoo kingdom or whatever, and the matriarch dies, and her son is the heir, but nobody fucks with the son, so they appoint Pam Grier to take over the reins. I think I got that correct. So it's some family quarrel going on right here. Your boy is like Scar from The Lion King. He's a spoiled rich brat that once was his. And so I could have bought that movie if it was just about that. But instead, he meets with this old man and discovers the bones of Blacula and resurrects Blacula to help him, I guess, take over this voodoo kingdom. But little does he know that Blacula wants everything for himself. So, you know what I'm saying? Once Blacula comes into the picture, the movie kind of goes all over the place. It drags, it's slow, boring. I fell asleep plenty of times, but the compliments I will give it is William Marshall. I think William Marshall as Blacula here, he really makes this role his own. I think he was more scary and menacing in this movie than in the first movie. Like, there were certain shots and certain angles they would show him, certain looks that he would have, just the way he was filmed. I said, yeah, I think Blacula's a little bit more scary this time around, you know what I'm saying? But the movie he was in was all wrong. That they put this brother in the wrong movie. You know what I mean? Like, you ever see the movie Shocker?
I have seen that, yes.
Where they had that scene where they were going through the TVs and shit, and they was like, you know, they would go into different shows and stuff. That's what it felt like. It felt like Blacula just jumped into a TV, went to another movie, and that's where he was, but that's not where he belonged. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's for those that seen Shocker. If you didn't see Shocker, you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And the biggest disappointment in the movie is Pam Grier. Now, if you're an exploitation fan, you know who Pam Grier. You know what she's known for. Pam Grier is a brick house, sexy, and just wonderful to look at, easy on the eyes. And this movie, she does nothing but look scared and scream. That's it. That's all she does. And for some reason, Blacula is infatuated with her, even though that's all she does is show fear and scream and whimper. And for some reason, that turns him on. And then even want to kill all his minions if they even went near her. Strange. And wait a minute, and then, so, what is his name? I know, Rob, you're going to help me out here, but the one that was supposed to take over the reins of the family, you know, take over the throne, I thought he was good. I like this character. He was probably the only character that really gave the movie any kind of personality, because all the other characters were boring. You know, the movie was boring, but Blacula, being as menacing as he was, made the movie good, and his helper, the guy that thought he can control Blacula, but Blacula ended up making him his slave, I thought he was pretty good in the movie. So overall, not a very good film, a way inferior sequel to the classic Blacula, but William Marshall, similar to Robert Englund, you know, they're so good in the roles, you can put them in a bad movie but still appreciate their performance, and so it still makes the movie watchable, but very inferior compared to the first movie, alright? And that's it, and that's all. So that's all I got, Rob. I'm going to give the floor back to you, man. Thank you for inviting me on. Can't wait to do this again. And this is Rashad G signing out. See you with the next video.
Thank you for joining me, Rashad. And yeah, I'm with you. This is not a very good movie. And I think you've got it exactly right. This does feel like Blacula is in the wrong movie. Viewers of my channel will know that I'm really forgiving when it comes to watching movies, but there's one thing that I won't forgive, and that's bad writing. The reason is lights and cameras and good actors, that stuff costs money. Good writing is free. If you can't even get the free stuff right, boo! And not only is good writing essentially free, the basics of storytelling are really simple. Here's the secret to every good story you've ever read or watched. A character wants X, but Y stands in the way, so they try Z and succeed or fail. That's it. Those are the bones. Obviously, you'd have to put some meat on those bones to make it actually good, but without those bones, you don't really have a story that audiences are going to enjoy. And this movie does have those storytelling bones at the beginning. Willis wants to be the leader of the group. The group doesn't want him, so he resurrects Blacula to try to become the leader and fails. The problem is, that's the first 15 minutes of the movie, and then Blacula becomes the main character. Which is fine, Blacula can be the main character, but he needs a goal, he needs motivation, he needs a challenge, otherwise there's no narrative. This movie, for most of its runtime, has no narrative. It fails as a story. And one of the frustrating things is, this would have been a really easy fix. I mean, it could have been that immediately after killing Willis, Blacula would ask him, "How did you bring me back?" And Willis would be like, "Voodoo." And then Blacula would say, "Oh, do you think voodoo could remove this vampire curse?" And then Willis would say, "Well, yeah, maybe, except you need to be alive to do voodoo magic, and I'm not alive anymore, so tough luck for you." And then Blacula would be like, "Well, are there any other voodoo magicians out there?" And Willis would be like, "Well, there's this one girl, Lisa, she's the leader of the group." And bam, you would have a reason for Blacula to hunt down Lisa for wanting to protect her from the other vampires, you know, because he would want her to help him with that vampire curse. But that's not the plot of this movie. That's just the plot of this movie that I came up with in 5 minutes. Or, how about this? Be bold. Make it Willis's story. He does have control over Blacula, and he uses Blacula to try to get control over that group. Unfortunately, vampires are only good at killing people, so he too late realizes that by killing off the group, there's no longer going to be a group to have power over, so he tries to course correct. He loses control of Blacula. Blacula kills him. As Willis lays dying, Blacula escapes into the city. Roll credits. Bam! That would have been cool too, but that's not the plot of this movie. That's another plot that I came up with in 5 minutes. Do you see how easy this is? You try it. Put your idea in the comments. Okay, but still, not everything about this movie is bad, and it still might be worth watching because, like Rashad said, William Marshall is pretty damn great as Blacula. And here, he really does look way more menacing and scary than in that first one, and that's pretty cool. And also, like Rashad, I think the Willis character is pretty cool. In fact, I kind of wish the movie had spent way more time with him. And add to that some great locations, some great costumes, the action sequences are pretty well choreographed. Yeah, okay, maybe this movie's worth watching. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, some people, like Gene Siskel, think that this movie is better than the original. Other people, like Roger Ebert and me and Rashad, think that Gene Siskel is full of shit.